Does your special someone regret having lied to you, the way they treated you, that they could never make up their mind, that they rejected you, that they always kept you waiting in the waiting room and gave you all sorts of newspapers, drinks, cookies, and so on, just so you would stay in the waiting room? They regret it. As I said, the dishonesty, no matter what happened between you, but now the question in the collective is whether he or she regrets it. Collective, my dears, you know that collective readings can't apply to everyone. Character cards are always gender neutral, and you always wonderfully adapt them for yourselves and your own situation. And if the reading isn't completely accurate yet, that's absolutely fine. Maybe there's one or another little puzzle piece in there that helps you put your puzzle together, right? First of all, a very warm and loving hello. You are so wonderful. I thank you from the bottom and depths of my heart for your existence, for the fact that you are here, for your comments. And I would also like to welcome a new channel member here. Thank you so, so much, my dear, for choosing to become a channel member as well. And as we do every week, we have the raffle for a 30-minute phone reading plus the spread for the coming week from the large deck. Right? Plus a love reading from the large deck. Now, I can't remember what I said at the beginning, whether I already included it. It's possible that there was a little bit of confusion here, but I think by now you're probably a bit used to that from me. My word salad, word stew. Yeah. So let's take a look now at what's really going on. And if you like, you are very, very welcome to write in the comments for the collective, not for yourselves or your own situation, but simply for the collective view, what kind of question we might want to ask next, right? Or you could say, do you think another reading would be really great, right? So please feel absolutely free to write it in the comments. And now I'm sending you a huge, huge, huge hug because you're just so sweet. You're simply the best, my dears. And I hope you're all doing well. And I hope that with this reading, I can send you some really wonderful energy. And I'm definitely sending you positive vibes now, no matter what the reading says. You'll definitely get positive energy from me, my dears. So let's take a look now. He regrets asking that question. Does he perhaps regret what he did to you? That he lied to you, his actions and behavior? So then we're already off to a good start with the major arcana. And yes, now to the question, right, what's going on with him, whether he regrets it, whether what's going on inside him, what's happening within him. The thing is, he's completely, exhausted by this imbalance, this inequality. He's exhausted. There's something about his actions that's bothering him. And there's something that's bothering him where he, relating to the question of whether he regrets what he's done. There's something he really can't come to terms with, you know? And here it's about finding balance. And that's what's bothering him, So there's something still in between this imbalance, where he already has a bit of a tendency to move back toward harmony, right? So there's also a strong sense of inner guidance here, you know. And for your loved one, it's definitely about the relationship. I'd like to refer to relationship in general here. We'll take a closer look to see exactly what else comes up, what exactly will result from this. So what else do we have? The Five of Pentacles, we had that, I think, yesterday or the day before. I don't remember exactly, but definitely in the last few days. Yeah, so here the Five of Pentacles also shows the uncertainty, right? So it all fits together again. If we look at it now, yeah, this imbalance, and now again the uncertainty, right? This is really also about fear of loss. And now there's a situation where somehow, yeah, you feel kind of excluded, right? So something isn't right. Unloved, excluded, those are its themes. And here we have the theme of rejection again. So I'd say, in a way, there's always a bit of a tendency to focus on something else when it comes to material things. But the inner guidance also says that something here is out of balance. So there's this kind of uncertainty, something isn't right, you know. So what else do we have? The Ace of Pentacles. So with the Ace of Pentacles, we see the material aspect again here, right? But it's also like something just doesn't fit. So it's kind of aimless, you know? And again, that uncertainty, right? So with himself, he's knows not in agreement with the situation right now. And here it's already like, yes, that inner guidance we saw earlier is also shown here. He does want to move in that direction because somehow he's not happy, you know? There's something here that's bothering him internally because, yes, he wants to move towards security. There's this stability, but there's also he's still uncertain, you know? And there's also something here that relates back to what once was in his life in general, maybe old patterns of behavior. But he does want to start something here. So, like, opportunities are being seized. And because he really wants happiness and above all, security in love, you know? So, as I said, there's a kind of imbalance here as well that's being shown. And that's what it's about with your special someone. Let's see what else we can find out here. Does he or she regret it? Your sweetheart, your special person, your desired partner? By the way, it could also be that you meet someone who is in this situation, right? Someone who is perhaps currently working through old issues in this area for themselves, but whom you don't know yet. If you get to know him and then maybe a topic like this comes up and he or she tells you about it, it could really be that you say, hey, wait a minute, I've heard or seen that somewhere in my life, right? Anything is possible. So that doesn't mean that this person has to be here right now at this very moment, you know? Let's take a look now. Oh, wow, that's really something. We have so much uncertainty, so much restlessness, so much nervousness here, so many fears. What we just saw is reflected here again completely, and there are so many thoughts. So, with the person of the heart, I can already see here that there are behavioral patterns present that go as far as, you know, we're talking about the collective here. It goes back to childhood, and those fears keep coming up, right? The fears, oh God, just don't do anything wrong. Panic, 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 you know? Those are his or her issues. So we're about to get a completely clear picture here. There it is. So what your person of the heart has done, those are really old behavioral patterns. The old behavioral patterns that are showing up, this dishonesty, which we can see very clearly here, right? So some people have really managed to sneak their way out of things. Some a bit more, others maybe a bit less, right? So that's definitely the case. And it's also like, well, that's how I've always done it. It's always worked out. So, okay, right? Because he's always just skimmed along the surface. We already have it here. He has his or her own issues, yes. But he just can't handle it anymore. We have the connection with you right here, the contact that's also being shown on the screen. It's there. And honestly, he's been struggling in this particular area for quite a while now. It fits. Everything worked out in the end, just like always, as it usually does. So the same old behavior patterns as always, always making a secret out of different things again and again, pushing things back and forth, pushing them away. Well, I need to think about it. Let's take another look at it now. And so I can already see very clearly that your special someone has these various issues. What we also saw at the beginning, this material aspect, that's also something your special someone is familiar with. So he has already been conditioned a bit, I would say, maybe really since childhood with this kind of, okay, all right, money and all that. So this idea of I'm only worth something if I show it materially on the outside, if I define myself through material things, So also buying attention. And that's the only way he feels valuable, if he gets this attention, if he gives something. You can really see this urge very strongly in your loved one. The urge to keep defining himself through material things in this area. And I also noticed that he doesn't really have a neutral perspective on finances, So I would say a bit more money is going out here than is actually coming in at times, because I do notice a bit of a bottleneck here and there, more or less. But I have to say that also has to do with his life. So whenever he was in relationships, no matter if it was a relationship, romantic relationship, marriage, or family, it was always about money, It was always about taking the money and money, 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 So that's the issue I keep encountering. That's the most important thing, inner values. That's what matters, The main thing is you get the gift, you get this or that. And that's how he or she was raised. That's what shaped him. So, and now, tada, here you come. But you're not like that at all, because you're here in your heart, right? Wait a moment. You are completely in your heart here. You are different. Different in a positive way. Wonderful. With you, I sense this warmth, this heartfelt kindness, and also this confidence. Wait a moment. And yes, absolutely. Please take a look at this. You are communicative. You show your feelings. You express your feelings. You are absolutely determined. Determined in communication, in clear communication. And that's what you've given. And above all, you see this connection. You feel this connection to your special person so strongly. And you have truly given something completely different here than what your special person is actually used to. And that's exactly the crucial point in all of this. Again and again, the withdrawal, right? This not knowing what he should do, right? He sees you as wonderful. So there's absolutely nothing, absolutely the warmth, the love, what you have given him, because you are solution oriented. You say, hey, listen up. All right, no problem. I've got a solution here, right? But here it's also the case that your special someone saw it that way a bit, but felt a bit too much pressure because you saw too much in him, felt too much with him. It wasn't too much for him. I can only tell you his perspective, right? And he couldn't handle that because something changed within him. And that's also what happens during the getting to know each other phase in the connection. So it doesn't matter whether you've already been in a relationship, whether you just got to know each other as friends or whatever. The connection, the contact between you two, that's where he noticed something started there, something began to change. But he was still so conditioned by what he's known all these years. So, and that's always the secrecy over and over again. The secrecy, the dishonesty, hiding things, and so on and so forth. And above all, I also keep seeing that he's in contact with someone else, which he also hid from you, showing you something different on the outside. Huh? I'm not in contact. Nope. But that's what it is. He didn't mean it in a bad way. I don't think he had the intention. He didn't intend um, to jump into bed with another woman and have a wild party, but it's just that he couldn't separate, couldn't set boundaries because, oh God, then he wouldn't be seen anymore, right? That's a huge issue. This not being seen anymore, not getting any attention. It's not that he's saying that he's some kind of cold-blooded coyote here, you know? I actually saw him more like a cookie crumb lying in the cookie jar sometimes. That's it. This constant reaching out, wanting to be seen, not being pushed aside, you know? Like, hey, you know, yeah. And there's that. But as I said, he did it. And he was dishonest with you, always trying to get himself out of the situation, right? With excuses and so on and so forth. Sometimes he would get offended, sulky, like a little child, and then he was gone, right? And that's exactly what he did. But what we have now is that the tables have turned because now there's a restlessness showing up in your loved one, in your sweetheart, because this just doesn't fit, right? Somehow he has this grumbling, this feeling in his stomach. It's like a burden, you know? He can't do it the way he's done it all these years. It just doesn't work anymore because it doesn't feel good at all now. So I'd say where he used to have this bit of coldness, you know, the way things worked with others all these years, but now it's like, wow, damn, right? I see here a complete sense of guilt, guilty feelings, a bad conscience. And so it could be that he's distancing himself from you right now because he no longer has that, let's say, hardened attitude in quotation marks, you know? Let's just say a softer kind of hardened, right? He has some that just doesn't fit anymore because you mean so much more to him now. And now we've reached the point where we're talking about inner guidance, as we saw at the beginning. This inner guidance, this change, this transformation as well. Something has happened. There's been movement because it just doesn't fit anymore. That's what he experienced with you, how he got to know you, your warmth. Now is the moment that actually feels pretty good, doesn't it? I feel comfortable in this area because now it has arrived. There's not really wanting to run away anymore, since for all those years and all those relationships, he never really arrived, you know? And always running, 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 right? Well, I'd say he would break all records here. He'd make it into the Guinness Book of Records for all the places he can run away from, you know? And how he can always talk his way out of things. And now it's this withdrawal and all of that because he keeps getting these feelings of guilt, a bad conscience, you know? Oh man, what an idiot I am, right? And it's like this. I also generally see him here as being at a point right now where he gets offended very quickly, gets upset very easily, and just completely withdraws, you know? Not everyone is at peace. So it's right now I see him as being pretty much on an ego trip, but that has nothing to do with you, you know? Well, yes, because you were a trigger actually, because of this change for the better. You are a positive trigger, you know? The positive trigger is that a transformation has taken place inside him or her. It's more like if you feel into it, it's this, hey, being able to let go, to just fall and trust. Closeness, connection. And that's exactly where she's really struggling with him because he can't handle it. This is now this is a big change, truly a big change for him or for her. And here it's like, not just with you, but I see this with others as well, a complete withdrawal, you know, getting offended really quickly, and this attitude of, no, I'll do what I want and I don't care. And after me, the deluge, right? Completely irrelevant. That's exactly how I see him here. And yes, he is sorry. He definitely regrets what he did, whether it was rejection, making you wait, being dishonest, all of it combined, you know. This issue keeps coming up again and again. As I said, he has his own issues. This was the kind of behavior he kept showing all the time, and it always worked out great for him. But you were the trigger for something to change here, even if you don't see it on the outside. Maybe you sensed a little bit of it, but he never really opened up, did he? Because he was always wearing this mask. He always showed something different on the outside side. You sensed something else. You really felt more. You truly felt more, right? But he always wanted to, he built this Alcatraz around himself so that nothing could get through, right? Because he didn't want to show it. And you felt it, as I said, he kept running away from it over and over again. And now this is the point where he says, wait a minute, this doesn't feel good at all. Something just doesn't fit anymore. Because I have him, he doesn't even want to go all the way back anymore because it actually feels good. And as I said, on the outside, you have war, you currently see something different. Inside him, that's what we're seeing here, but you don't actually see what's really going on there. And that's been going on for a while now, but you were definitely the trigger, as I said, because there's this thing you have positive vibes, positive feelings, right? You gave him or her positive energy, where he's actually like, wow, but honestly, I have nothing to do with that. Something along those lines, because I actually see him completely stuck in this uncomfortable, pessimistic state, doesn't work, isn't working, that's how I see him. And he always has this urge to prove himself, to buy something, and no matter what it's about, this need to represent himself through material things, to define himself that way. And we keep having these kinds of issues with a different, I'll just say in general, with other people. That's what I mentioned right at the beginning from his past, so that's how all of this has repeated itself, and it's like somehow it's like this with me. It looks like this. I don't know, for years he kept eating the exact same meal over and over again. Maybe instead of fries there was potato salad with his meal once or something like that. So there was a bit of a change, a little bit of variety, but really minimal, um so, and now it's like this. Now he actually finds this dish really disgusting to the point of wanting to throw up. I'll put it this way, let me phrase it carefully. He's really discovered now that he doesn't want any of this anymore. He finds this food, which he's had for years, so to speak, absolutely, it makes him gag, he doesn't want it anymore. He doesn't want this repetition anymore. And that's why maybe right now he's withdrawing this strange behavior that you might have noticed too, right? That's what's really going on inside him. That's the change, because he first has to come to terms with it himself. And yes, definitely a guilty conscience, remorse. He's sorry because he's now coming more and more to the realization that you are actually, well, the greatest happiness for him. I mean, I'm not telling you some kind of fairy tale here, I mean, you know it yourselves by now, right? And those are his thoughts. And it really is about this focus on a new beginning, on change, on transformation, and especially on allowing truly deep love. And from that, he will definitely free himself here. I have the letting go of the old. I have this burden is being laid down because he doesn't really trust himself either, right? And that means this trust in himself that he takes here, that he accepts this change, this transformation, and then also what you gave him, where you actually gave the starting signal to allow that, right? The change. Let's see what else we can find. Yes, so we have the Ace of Swords. Ace of Swords, that fits so incredibly perfectly. The Ace of Swords shows here he will seize the opportunity, that is, face the truth and accept it, embrace this change, and also walk this path. Because he knows that things are being clarified now, and it is a truly wise and good decision to take this path. Because he wants out. He wants to get out of this hamster wheel, out of this labyrinth, out of this prison garden completely. And he already senses a bit of a chance for conversation with you, right? Clarification. And most importantly of all, he has come to an important realization. The realization to face the truth, to accept this change, and to become fair, also to be fair to you, because he knows he wasn't fair to you considering what you gave him or her. So, and now, well, I think this is absolutely amazing. We have Thea. What was I going to say? 10 of Cups. The 10 of Cups also represents belonging together, and that's absolutely amazing again, right? Belonging. And that's what your special someone wants, right? As I said at the beginning, this is about a relationship, right? When it comes to love and about happiness and security in love, right? What we have with the Ace of Pentacles is shown here again because it's that he knows the harmony. That's what we have here again, right? So at the beginning and at the end, this harmony is where your special someone will go, because that's what he truly wants, what he now wants to allow himself to have. And he knows that with you, he can feel at home anywhere, because you're absolutely a wonderful partner by his side. Of course, he doesn't know if there is even still a chance, right? Because here the trust is pretty much, well, it really needs to be rebuilt between the two of you, especially from your side. But he definitely knows you are the one. With you, he can have this foundation, a truly wonderful basis for a shared future. And yes, also this sense of family, this belonging together, the sense of belonging. And how you decide is completely up to you, right? Always take care of yourself, and above all, look after yourself. You are the most important person in your life. Okay, dear ones, I thank you from the bottom of my heart for watching. I wish you all the very best and a wonderfully beautiful rest of your day. Goodbye, dear ones.